babysitting this dog. The second time I babysitted him, he's blind and deaf. He's like one of those dogs that has the rolls, the Sharpies they're called. Sharpays, I guess.
Oh, I think did you post about him early on Facebook?
Man, he is so funny. He's so he's just there. He'll sleep for I would say 20 hours a day. I would guess. But he'll do this thing where he gets up and he walks, smells, and he goes back to bed.
Oh my god.
He's he's deaf and blind, but he's honestly, this dude is, I'm getting paid pretty well, and it's the easiest thing I've ever done in my life. So that's cool. But yeah, cool. Let's you know how not to get too bogged down in that immersive thing. You know why I looked like the way I did and you guys didn't? It's because I had it set as my virtual background as well. So it looked like I was inside of it while we had it set up as immersive. If that makes, going back to the Jordan White. Yeah. We'll figure that out another time. But for the next episode, folks, we're going to have some crazy shit going on with our video.
No big deal.
Yeah. So let's just hop right in. Yesterday was trade deadline in the NHL, and it's crazy how... What?
Introduce ourselves first. Episode 8.
Oh, it's
Good Laff.
Okay, you go. You do it.
Episode 8 of the Good Laff Podcast, guys. We're here. It's trade deadline fucking madness. We're joined by FellerPine again, who's honestly just willing to be a part of this podcast permanently at this point.
Go Sens, go!
Yeah, go Sens, go. We actually just finished watching a dandy Sens game. Dylan Cousins made a big impact. I'd say he had a good game. We'll talk about that more after. But yeah, welcome in, guys. I'm Jordan Reed, your host, joined by...
Julian Smith.
And FellerPine, by what is that, guys? Thanks for having me on again. This by Go Sens, go.
Go Sens, go. Go Bolts, go. Go Leafs, go, I suppose.
Well, you know what? It's just all the boys supports each other's teams, and just because we're friends.
Oh, dude, when we were watching that Ottawa game earlier, I was we watched the Ottawa game, they won that, and we watched the Tampa game after. I didn't give a fuck about that one. I was way more
on your phone the whole time on the Tampa.
Literally didn't give a fuck.
Well, the new objective now, though, is every Canadian team making the playoffs and at least one of them winning the cup. And who gives a fuck what one it is?
Except for Montreal.
Literally,
I agree. I actually 100% agree with that statement. Where I'm man, even Ottawa, even I know them Toronto got a rivalry. It's there's a few guys on that team I'd be happy if I seen them win a cup.
And whatever.
That'd be a cool fella to see win a cup.
Yeah. Oh, man. He deserves one, dude. He's never got one.
And so
I'd say he's a legend.
Yeah. And Jordan Reed, no offense, but your team has won 3 cups in the last 21 years.
We don't need one.
And another aspect of it, Montreal got the last Canadian cup, too. So let's get a different team a cup.
Yeah, but Calgary won it, but it was rigged.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah. Yeah, lightning.
Man, Martin Jelena, that would have been deadly.
Oh my god!
I think his young fella plays in the league now. But okay, so let's hop in. So yesterday's trade deadline. It was an awesome trade deadline. It was I can honestly say the last 3 or 4 days leading up to it were pretty crazy. There was a lot of big trades, like Seth Jones, which we'll get in a bit to after. Jordan's team, getting Bjorkstrand and Gord, which we'll get into in a bit. But overall, a lot of deals made, but also high prices paid. High prices paid. It was definitely that before we get into everything, but just to talk about one team in particular, Boston. They were selling little pieces, and then I feel like they were oh my God, we could rebuild in 1 year. Because we could trade half our team, get a bunch of young guys, a bunch of picks, and they'll be back in the playoffs again next year. But they were feeling it out.
Pasternak and Charlie McAvoy by they're safe.
Yeah,
Swayman.
they can't. Yeah, they can't be we're going into a full rebuild and not trade. You'd have to trade Pasternak.
Yeah,
you would because he would be too old if they were going to go into a rebuild. It'd be too important. But they're going to retool. They're going to do the thing that.
To be fair, they're not fully out of them to playoff race either right now. They're really not. They just their trades kind of made it look like they are though.
Oh yeah, I think they're just whatever. We'll be back next year and we'll we'll get into them in a bit because they traded some players that are pretty big. But yeah, in terms of the day, I thought it was really busy, but like I said, a lot of but teams that are good don't care about trading their first round picks anymore because they're like winning a guy picked 25th in this year's draft might not be relevant until like 2030.
That's the way I look at it too. Yeah, like trade him. Who gives a fuck? Get some good players right now and make a push for the cup.
Yeah.
Julian Breezewa, your GM, said it. Jordan Reed. He said, "I'd rather have a team full of good players than a bunch of draft picks." And that's where 100%. Tampa is one of those teams where it's like I thought they were going to be bad this year. They've made a huge push for it now, and they just made 2 huge deals. Like Yanni Gord, who they love, and Bjork Strand,
such a good player. Another good pick.
Bjork Strand adds scoring depth to them. Like he's also never played with guys like them before. Like he might be, and I always thought because didn't he score like 70 goals one year in the Q or something crazy?
He did. He had a crazy season.
Yeah, and I was always like, man, if that guy can play with a playmaker, he might put a few in the net. And like now he's playing on a team where he'll probably even be under a second power play.
He was at the first, I think, tonight, man. I'm pretty sure.
That guy's going to score some goddamn goals for sure.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. But yeah, let's get into I think our first topic I want to get into is let's talk about our favorite teams and their trades. And even though FellerPine is a guest for the 4th episode, it's really funny. I just want to go off topic 1 second, but one of my favorite podcasts, the last podcast on the left, they started their podcast with just 2 guys, and then one of their best friends joined, and he was a guest for like 200 episodes in a row. And then they were like, then he became part of the show. And this kind of reminds me, I'm like, there might be episodes without FellerPine, but also at the same time, it's like, you were like, Bias, I would love to do the trade deadline. So it's like, loves chat hockey and loves chat hockey. So that's what I mean. So let's get into the guest, I guess we could call you. Let's get into the Ottawa Senators. And
man, I just think they came out yesterday and they did exactly what they needed to do for who they needed to pick up, the types of players, and what they filled exactly what they needed. 3 of the players that they brought in, I guess, obviously, Dennis Gilbert is more of like a depth piece, but I actually like the kind of game he is. Nice, simple, steady defenseman. But the trade was Dylan Cousins, Dennis Gilbert, and a 2nd-round pick to Ottawa for Josh Norris and Jacob Bernard-Docker. Honestly, Norris has been a Band-Aid for Ottawa for a long time, and I love him. He's been a great locker room guy. He's half Newfie too, so I love that about him. I'm going to miss him. Jacob Bernard-Docker was never going to get the chance here at Ottawa, especially with the coaching staff that they have right now. So time to move on and bring in some new things. Dylan Cousins, I mean, you're playing on a team like Buffalo for your whole career. It's got to be a bit demoralizing, not seeing success. And, I just think there's a lot more for him to give. We've seen it with the World Juniors. We've seen it with him like developing as a player. He had a 30-goal year a couple of years ago. I think there's a lot more to give. And I think even from what I just seen from the game today, I was like, holy shit, man. So this guy
he had a wicked game today.
Was he 6'3"?
He's good. 6'3" or 6'4", something like that.
Yeah, like
but,
just a
big
6'3",
body centerman,
200 pounds,
wins faceoffs,
right-handed.
Yeah,
right hand is big.
Yeah, and he fit in perfectly there today. He had 9 hits in his debut with the Senators today, and an assist. Like, good laugh. Let's go. He won 55% of the faceoffs. Like, really impressed with his debut.
Let's just look at his best season ever. His best season ever. He had his best season yet was in Buffalo in 22-23, where he had 31 goals, 37 assists. And after that is when they signed him. I think he's on a $7.1 million contract.
Yeah.
Which is like, I think with the salary cap going up the way it is and Ottawa's willingness now to spend to the cap.
Yeah. And with the contract they moved out to, Norris was paying $7.9 million, and you don't know if he's going to be there for half the season every year.
And Bernard was probably making league min.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
you might have been.
You're saving $1 million there.
Yeah, and that's how they were able to accomplish the other trade that they made. Well, they brought in they switched it out for bringing in what's his name, Dennis Gilbert, so that they balanced it out. He's like that, whatever play.
He'll probably make league min. Yeah.
And he only played 6 minutes today in that game. But yeah, whatever. But yeah, that's how they were able to accomplish the other trade. And like I said, the most important thing to recognize about these two trades for Ottawa is they brought in 5-on-5 scoring, which they did not have this season. Both of these guys, they're both about 30 odd points this year. Most of their points, I'm pretty sure I read it. It was like Dylan Cousins is like 25 of his points are even strength. He only has 30 something. And Zetterlund, it was like the same thing. It was like 27 of his points are even strength. So they show up like any time of the game. They're not just there for power play, even though they still put up points. And but yeah, that other trade was, what was it? Fabian Zetterlund. I don't see it here in front of me. Ottawa Senators traded Noah Gregor, Zach Ostapchuk, which is probably the biggest piece of that trade going back. But we've seen a bit of him this season, and it wasn't like, I don't know, it wasn't too impressive. He's doing really well, and I think there's a lot of potential there. So I guess that's what San Jose is looking at too. But bringing in a guy like Zetterlund, who had 24 goals last year, and they also picked up Tristan Robbins in a 4th-round pick there. So bringing in a guy like Zetterlund, I think, is very important because you're going to get much needed scoring. You're going to get somebody that wants to shoot the puck, and you're getting somebody that basically is now second or third. Actually, Cousins and Zetterlund came in, and I believe they're both second and third in Ottawa Senators for hits right now, I believe. So just like that, you're just like, I don't know, just good all-around smart moves, man.
That's one thing about Cousins. He also fights. He's fought a couple times in his career.
Yeah, I think he's like 6 or 7 career fights, so he's not shy of it.
He's a big boy from Whitehorse, Yukon. He's not scared of anything. And like, I really want to like kind of focus on him because I think the Buffalo Sabres are hopeless. The most hopeless team in the NHL. But
at this stage,
every other bad team, you could see them, like San Jose. I can totally see their path of being better. It's happening. It's happening. Every other bad team is going to be better in a few years. Yeah.
Buffalo, no. It doesn't matter who they draft.
Now. They should be good right now.
Rasmus Dahlin, Owen Power, Dylan Cousins, Jack Quinn,
Tage Thompson,
dude, Alex Tuck, JP Pateka. Like,
oh my God, dude, they should be elite right now. But what's happening?
Devin Levi, Ukko-Pekka Lehkonen, like two.
Bowen Byram.
No veterans. There's no veterans. And
no leadership, probably.
You need like one guy who's good and also a vet. Yeah, it can't be your fourth.
So think about how good this must feel for Dylan Cousins right now to be playing. He's been suffering in Buffalo for his whole career since 2020 when he got in the league, and now he's going to Canada. He's going to right in the playoff race. Me and Jordan seen it earlier. He got to. He was there doing an interview on TV. He was like shaking in the interview. He was that excited. You could see it.
Dude, his hands
it was
like, so
it was weird, dude. Man. I was like, dude, this is awesome for him.
Yeah, because he's probably like, fuck, man. Like, it's not even like some dudes who got traded yesterday, like Scott Lawton, for example, who got traded. He's had playoffs. Dylan Cousins man, I'm honest when I tell you, like, disband Buffalo. And Buffalo Sabres fans are diehard. Go back to the 90s when they're making the finals. Dominic Hasek. When they're making
even the early 2000s or mid.
Ryan Miller, Chris Drury, Daniel Briere.
Oh my God, yes.
But like now, like Owen Power, trade him to Toronto for the love of God. Like get that guy out of there. Get Rasmus Dahlin out. Get everyone who leaves there, man, goes on to great success. Ryan O'Reilly.
They all went and won cups right after they left.
But also have had way better career. Ryan O'Reilly said he didn't want to play hockey anymore when he played there. They haven't made playoffs in like 12 years. It's bad.
It's pathetic. It's bad, dude.
And it's nothing against the fans.
How many years did you say?
Probably it's 10 to 12.
I'm pretty sure it's 15.
Dude, they talk about them on Steve Dangle podcast. like the boys, Steve and him talk about that crowd, like they are like, you should be at every opportunity you get, you should be trying to call them to try to screw them over because they're so useless.
The last time they made the playoffs was 2010, 2011.
And they're not making it. And I would put a bet they're not making it next year either.
Dude, it's so funny. They actually started this season all right, and then they just went back to their ways.
No one wants to go there. No one wants to sign there. People would rather go play in fucking probably the AHL.
Can you imagine the feeling of getting drafted by this franchise right now?
Yeah.
Well, dude, everyone on the team got drafted by them, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's another crate. That's the thing. You can't build a team.
All I can say is we saved Dylan Cousins.
Yeah, and honestly, as much as I was like, there was chats like, you know, early in the days when you're talking about him being traded, like what would he look like in Toronto and stuff. And I'm like, I still love that thought, but I'm actually really happy he went to a Canadian team. And just a team, I want that guy to get 100 points because I think he can do it. Like I want him to have success. Yeah. It's just going to suck that it comes to Toronto's expense in some ways, but honestly, they had to play him in Buffalo. So like, it's no different. You got to play him.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I feel like you're just going to get a more rejuvenated Dylan Cousins now. Like he's actually going to care.
Makes Battle of Ontario way better.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. It's going to be awesome, man. Like he's like, I wasn't even like, Josh Norris is somebody we've thought about trading for the last few years, but I'm happy it finally happened in a sense. And as much as, like I said, it kind of sucks for the locker room. I don't know if you guys seen Brady Tkachuk yesterday, the interview.
I did, yeah.
He was like screeching, but it makes sense, man. He's literally his childhood best friend almost, or like one of his best friends growing up. So that's hard, but it's stuff that has to happen in hockey sometimes. And I think that's only going to honestly build the team up more to be in some way. So great trade. And what else was I going to say on Zetterlund? One thing I just want to point out about him too is he's on a San Jose Sharks team. I mentioned it to you guys already, but he's somehow a plus player this year. So he's going to have back-to-back 20-goal seasons on San Jose. Most of his points are not on the power play. He plays like 70 minutes a night. He's 5'11", so he's kind of small in that sense, but he's 220 pounds, man. Yeah. He's a tank. And he hits people. And he loves to score.
I consider plus minus to sometimes be a nothing stat, but only in three ways it matters. It matters if you are like plus 30. If you're plus 30, obviously something good is going on. If you're minus 30, it's obviously very problematic when you're on the ice. Yeah. And if you're plus on a bad team.
Yeah, this is the thing too that I noticed right away. Last year, minus 34. This year, plus 8 on the exact same kind of roster. Well, except for Celebrini.
Dude, isn't that crazy though? That is the growth. Even though San Jose is still one of the worst teams in the league this year, that's their growth though. They're better this year. Like
I heard a lot of San Jose fans saying that they're very surprised that they traded Zetterlund right now. They thought it was part of the core.
And yeah, I got a buddy up here, actually. His parents are from Newfoundland. Cody shared it to him. He's actually a San Jose fan. So, like, shares
no way.
He got a San Jose starter jacket from the 90s. And
that's hilarious.
For sure.
So, like, I honestly am a huge Fabian. It's Fabian, right?
Yeah, Fabian Zetterlund.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of his. I only see him play twice this year, and it was against the Leafs, but I thought it looked pretty good. So let's give Ottawa a grade
A+. Let's go A, because there's two things that I think they could have done that they missed out on today. But I also, as expected, they didn't do. Forsberg, I think that contract could have been moved out potentially. If I don't know if there was a market there for him. Get him out and get somebody else in as a backup. You don't need to be paying somebody that much for a backup that gives you inconsistency. And also Travis Hamonic, the coaching staff loves him, but he does not need to be there anymore. He can go coach.
Like, I know, you know what I mean? Buys, Jordan, every team got one of those dudes, man. Every team got one of those dudes that everybody knows shouldn't be on the ice all the time, but yet is. Literally, they scratched one of their, like, Matt and Paolo tonight to play Travis Hamonic, and I just can't do it.
And he got hurt.
He did get hurt, but no, he'll be back next game.
Oh,
he's one of those guys. He's a tank.
Yeah,
he'll play. Yeah, tough guy. You know, and that's the thing. Good locker room guy, great guy, I'm sure. But you get to a point where you watch him that much, and it's just like, man, what are we doing here? Same thing over and over. But the issue was with him, no move clause, meaning they couldn't move him to the AHL even. They couldn't trade him. They couldn't move him to the AHL. That's the contract that Pierre Dorion signed with him a couple of years ago. Yeah, great guy.
He's just intentionally fucking your team.
Yeah, but anyways, this is the last year of his contract, I believe. So more than likely, this is it for his career, I would say, after this. So that and Forsberg, other than that, they filled their needs. They got in 2 depth players that can play 5-on-5 or more. Sorry, more than depth players in Fabian Zetterlund and Dylan Cousins, but also the depth D, a bigger defenseman to play and hopefully take some of Hamannik's minutes. So yeah, I'd give him like an A, I'd say.
Jordan Reed?
I give him an A, yeah. Yeah.
I give him B+, and only reason I give him B+ is that I think they could have used like another good veteran. Because I think that's what they kind of need on that team. Because where they're still like, I feel like they're still so inconsistent. They're you know what I mean? Like they're a good team, but they're still not consistently a good team. And I feel like just say you get someone of Dylan Cousins' skill level, but he's 29 and has maybe not even won a cup, but is playing some playoffs. That's the only reason I And
I think they filled that need in the off season with bringing in Perron and who was the other one? I'm blanking right now. Perron and Amadio, 2 people who went through like a bunch of playoff success and whatever. But Perron was doing pretty much nothing, injured a lot of the season. But within the last week, you could see the progression of his play starting to actually matter in meaningful games. And I think it's a great point on what you said, but I think that's probably why they were like, maybe the leadership we got is okay or something, right?
And also, like, there wasn't like the veterans at the trade deadline, like the big guy, like, it's you got Brock Nelson going out, but Ottawa's not getting him. Like,
where did he go again?
He went to Colorado.
Oh my God,
huge for them. It's just
yeah.
So and I think so. He averages out because Steve Sayos is our GM. Yeah, he averages out to an A. The Good Laff Podcast grading is an A. Stamp it on. So I think we should move on to Tampa Bay. And it's actually crazy how all of our favorite teams are in the East, but we all cheer for and in the Atlantic, but we all cheer for a different team, which is also and like I cheer for a very stereotypical Newfoundland team. You guys both there's more Ottawa fans all the time, but they're still not.
No, nobody really cares.
I wouldn't even say they're top 5 teams in Newfoundland. Cheer.
No. I'd say Toronto, Montreal, Boston. Where do we go after that, though?
Detroit maybe?
Detroit, and then
Chicago.
Chicago's probably up there.
Original 6 teams.
Yeah.
That's just the best way to look at it for old school newfies, yeah.
Tampa Bay, yeah. Honestly, they didn't need to do much, I don't think, because, by their team's unreal. We got fucking Kucherov, we got Point, we got all the buys. What else we need? But we got Yanni Gourde back. God love him. And Adam Bjorkstrand as a bit of depth is a good fucking laugh. Yanni Gourde, he won a cup with Tampa already. He knows how to be coached by John Cooper and shit. So, yeah, it's just easy fit. And, yeah, I mean, we give up some draft picks, but who gives a fuck? And we give up Michael Eastman. Who gives a fuck? I'm pumped.
Yeah, but they're so smart in their trading where they gave away Mikey and Eastman. They gave away a 26 first round and a 2027 first round. You could say it's maybe a bit of an overpay, but they're expecting to draft 25 to 30. Yeah. And if they're bad, they're both top 10 protected. So in those years, if they're top 10 protected, they move on to the year after and they get their top 10 pick. So it kind of works out for them no matter what. And like I said, it might be an overpayment, but like I said earlier, Julian Breezewell said the other day, I'd rather have good players than draft picks that might not pan out.
100%.
They know what they're getting with Yanni Gourde. They
oh my God, yes. Yes.
And I want at least get him so bad.
I'd say
he is a gamer. work. And like Oliver Borkstrand has turned into like a bit of a Hills. I think, like I said, what's the year he had? I got to look at it.
His 50-goal seasons in junior.
Yeah, is that
he had back-to-back 50 goals. He had 50 goals in 69 games, 109 points in 2013-14. And then the year after, he had 63 goals in 59 games, 118 points.
Yeah.
What a stud, man.
He's a gamer, dude.
In the last... He's basically been a 20-goal scorer in the NHL.
I want to point out one more thing about that year. The only other person, the person who was saucing him the puck was Nick Patan, who never panned out in the NHL either, really.
Oh, I remember him. Holy shit.
He had 74 assists in 54 games that year, 15 goals.
Oh, my God.
I think Oliver Borkstrand's had himself a good little career, though.
100%, man. Steady career.
5 20-goal seasons in a row. Like his season high is 59, playing on a Kraken team that does not score. Like if he's with Tampa next year, I bet you he beats his career high.
Oh my God, easy.
59 points, easy.
And like a guy who's going to score you 20, guaranteed. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, we can write him down for 20 no matter what, and maybe he scores this fucking, like his most ever was 28. So you know he could probably score you 30.
You know what? If he's with Tampa next year, he's a 30-goal scorer. Easy.
But he scored 21 in 49 games before, and he's also scored 28 and 80 with a bad Columbus Blue Jackets team. So I think that guy, I don't think he's probably played in the playoffs before, has he? Maybe a game or maybe a fucking 10 games.
I was just looking at this.
He has actually, dude. Those 2 years with Columbus.
Oh yeah,
5 points in 10 games, three points in 10 games, and then with Seattle, 14 games played, 8 points. Laugh. I forgot they made the playoffs.
8 points in 14 games in the playoffs is huge.
Yes, man.
So and he shows up in playoff success too. Actually, he played in Columbus multiple times in the playoffs, dude. That's even crazy. Seasons before that.
Seattle went Game 7, 2 series in a row that year. Yep. They put in Colorado in their first series.
Yeah.
Colorado had fucking Georgiev in that, though, man. They fired him.
Oh, my God. Where's he to now?
Oh, I don't know.
San Jose, playing great.
Oh.
Yeah. They got Yanni Gourde, man. There. Let's talk about Yanni Gourde. I want to talk about Yanni Gourde.
Like he don't get a whole lot of points, but like looking at his stats, he performs in the playoffs. In 1920, he had 7 goals and 7 assists in 25 games. That's not bad. And then he had 6 goals in 23 games the year after. And then in 2022, 2023, and he had 13 points in 14 games with Seattle.
That was that same run we were just talking about.
So, dude, he's fucking, he's a playoff performer for sure. So, it's going to be, I'm excited for the playoffs and Yanni Gourde, buddy.
Did you, he had an assist in his debut as well?
He did.
Yep.
And fucking Easymont scored too in his debut for Seattle, but who gives a fuck?
And Gourde's coming off a bad injury, but you also don't really mind it because, and also you go ahead.
I was just gonna say he throws the body around too. I mean, I'm just looking at the current team that's on the go right now. Boston's up 1-0, but Gourde got he got a shot, 3 hits. Yorkshire got a couple shots on that, a hit or whatever. Good laugh. If I shows up to play, man, they're gamers.
From Seattle's viewpoint, they got 2 first-round picks and a Michael Eyssimont, and they're not making the playoffs this year, and they're trying to, I think they're trying to make it next year, so I would expect them to trade those draft picks.
So, as far as it goes for a rating for Tampa, I'm going to go probably A- because they didn't really need to do much, and they did more than they needed to, I think.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
I would say, what'd you say you give them?
A-.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, they didn't really need to do much. So, let's give them A-, B+, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the A- range too, just because and if they never done nothing, they probably still get a B because they didn't do any. You know what I mean? But the fact that they did make their team better.
Yeah,
they do get an A-.
Yeah.
And those 2 guys, go and get a guy that you had before.
Dude, I remember when Seattle came into the league and I heard they get rid of Yanni Gourde, I was actually kind of devastated, man, because I loved him. He was awesome.
64 points in pretty much his rookie year. Good laugh.
He's a stud.
Yes. So I'm leaning towards that. So I guess we'll move on to fucking the Laffs.
I was going to say, you ready to scream at the Leafs or what?
Well, I'm not going to scream. But let's be honest. They were the team yesterday that I was like, these guys need to make moves. Even if I'm not a fan of them, I'm like, if they don't make moves, they're toast in the first round. Guaranteed. Yeah. And also, it's not in the first round. They're trying to win first place. It's a race to that now between them, Florida, and Tampa. And then you get Florida and Tampa make massive moves. And then you're like, well, so Toronto gets Scott Laughton yesterday, who I'm a big fan of that guy. I like what he brings to the table for the Leafs. I like the fact that
solid two-way player, man.
The fact that John Tortorella almost cried that he was leaving Philly, I was like, oh, okay.
That's good. That's big for the Leafs. Bye.
Getting real character guy here. Good guy in the room. But also, on a year where he's not playing very good, and a horrible Philadelphia team, still got 11 goals and 15 assists. Yeah. I think he's had some pretty good playoff success, too. The one big run that they made, I think he had 7 or 8 points. I'll have
9 points in 15 games.
9 points in 15 games for a third line center. But his last 10 games, 2 points. But he's also known he's been traded. I think he's known for a while. He's getting traded. There's a bunch of stuff that was John Tortorella's I think that was just weighing on him, and he'll be good now. Craig Berube also coached him when he was assistant coach in Philly, so he's pretty familiar with him. And I think the biggest thing is that Toronto needed a third line center. Braden Shen said he didn't want to go there. And I think that would have been too expensive of a trade anyways. Braden Shen's being paid $6.5 million. He's 35 years old.
He's not worth that.
Him and Scott Laughton this year got kind of the same amount of points. So, and I think Shen's been playing better lately, so he's probably passed him. But Laughton, the Leafs traded Nikita Grabenkin, and a first-round pick for Nikita Grabenkin is going to be good. So maybe not even good, but he, that one quote he had this year, back check, forecheck, paycheck. He's just one of those Russian beauties who maybe he ends up being a star or fades out someday into the KHL. And a first-round pick, but top 10 protected, which is huge for the Leafs, where they don't know if they're going to re-sign Marner, don't know if they're going to re-sign Tavares. But the one thing I really like is that Philly retained 50%, and Laughton signed again next year. So you're getting Laughton this year and next year for $1.5 million, which I think is massive.
Dude, and the thing about him too is he's just, like I said, you're saying they needed a third line center. He's a perfect fit. You don't care, he don't care so much for the goals, whatever. He's going to play a penalty kill, and he's a good skater, and he reads the game well. So he's just it's a solid pickup for the Leafs, man.
He's played the most penalty kill minutes this year on Philadelphia. And Philadelphia, even though they're one of the worst teams in the league, have a 16th place penalty kill, which is not bad for a bad team. And he's obviously one of the leaders in that. So, and the Leafs, their penalty kill is 14th. They could get a bit better, and I think he just helps them instantly. And another big thing, him and Max Domi played AAA together. And apparently, they asked Max Domi about it yesterday before they traded for him, and Max said, I think you guys should definitely go get him. Because I guess they played with each other their whole life, growing up. And he's from Toronto. He gets it. He played with the Oshawa Generals. He was the captain of the Oshawa Generals.
Really?
Yep.
Wow, dude.
This guy gets it. I think he might score more in Toronto because he's playing on a line tonight with Max Domi and Bobby McMahon. It's the two most offensive dudes he's ever played with. And he goes to the fucking net, buddy. And that's what you got to do. Max Domi will just throw it on the net, hopefully, and he's just driving for it. So, yeah, I was really impressed with that trade. I actually don't even know if they paid a lot, but also the fact that they retained and
it kind of balances out. I was thinking it was a bit of an overpay, looking at the first and a pretty good prospect, but the fact that they got the retention on the salary too, just to be able to fit him into their cap space is lovely. It's I don't mind the trade.
I think he also got a 4th and a 6th. too, which is like not horrible.
They got a 4th and a 6th yet.
And before we move on to the big one, Toronto also traded Connor Dewar and Connor Timmins, 2 players that they did not need, and they wanted to unload their salary, and they traded them to Pittsburgh for a 5th-round draft pick. And I'll say Kyle Dubas had a pretty good trade deadline, but giving up an asset like a 5th-round pick for 2 guys, a team, they could have gave them future considerations, which end up being nothing. And Toronto would have did it to unload $2.5 billion in salary.
Yeah, it's probably like a friendly move.
Yeah, and also like Dubas loves his dudes. Had Connor Timmins in.
He brought two of them in, did he not?
No, he didn't bring in Dewar, but I'm sure he loves Dewar, a feller that don't like skates really fast and can't do much else. Good Kyle Dewar is special. Pretty like that's what they did. Alex Kerfoot.
Sure, they brought in Noah Gregor, right, when Duaz was there, and same thing on Ottawa. I witnessed that. Could skate faster than almost anybody on the team. Can't do nothing else.
Yeah, but if he could do anything else, Noah Gregor is maybe the best player in the league. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, if he could shoot the puck, even because he's a pretty good penalty killer. If he could shoot the puck, he probably makes $4 million.
You know what? He's gone now, and I'm okay with it. Let's get Fabian Zetterlund in.
Yeah, and then the big trade Toronto made yesterday, which was apparently they made it like 1 minute before the deadline. Was Toronto traded Fraser Minton and a 1st-round draft pick. What was it? It was a big. Let me get that up. I forget exactly. I don't know if they included that 4th in it or not.
Fraser Minton, a conditional 1st-round pick and a 4th-round pick for Brandon Carlo. And Bruins retained 15% of Carlo's salary. Toronto's 1st-round pick is top 5 protected. 4th-round pick is originally a Philly pick. So there you go. That was the pick they got in the Philly trade.
Had a down year this year, Brandon Carlo, but Boston's been bad. He's got 331 penalty minutes in his career. He's 6'5", 223 pounds, and that's really what he is. And they really wanted Luke Schenn, and I think he's a much better version of Luke Schenn. Yeah,
he's solid, man.
He'll play Morgan Riley, and that's exactly what Morgan Riley needs. And now your top 4 is McCabe, Tanev, Riley, Carlo. Best top 4 Toronto's had in my lifetime. Easily.
It kind of reminds in some sense, it kind of reminds me, it's not the same type of player you're bringing in, but you're bringing in somebody to fit in with another player and not necessarily like, the flashy whatever. It's like what Ottawa did with bringing in Nick Jensen for Chychrun. You didn't need Chychrun. Like, as much as Chychrun succeeding in Washington, you needed somebody like Jensen to come in and just play with somebody like Shabbat, which it's been an unbelievable pairing this season.
And he's signed for another 2 years, I believe, Brandon Carlo is. And they got rid of Fraser Minton, but Fraser Minton might be a 3rd-line center someday. Like, there's nothing telling. It's like Toronto needs to try to win right now.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Like,
stop trying to develop these guys. You got your guys. Like, just fucking go for it.
Yeah, and I think, like, Brandon Carlo, like, he makes your team. And, like, Toronto doesn't have the number 1 defenseman, you know what I mean? Like, that guy. But they have, like, in my opinion, 2 number 2s and a number 4 and a number 3. So, and then you got Oliver McNarsson now on your 3rd pairing, which is huge for them.
Yeah, that's solid.
That's where he played last year with Florida. He won the Cup with Florida playing with the 3rd pair. Him and Simone Benoit and probably Philip Myers coming in and out. I'm so excited to watch him play hockey tonight. See what.
Oh man, I feel it's so exciting. Yeah. Trade deadline's awesome,
and especially when your team does stuff and makes a difference.
You'd be pissed after if they don't do anything. You're just like fuck.
So giving them and. I will honestly say Toronto making those trades and not having to give up Danford or Cowan is huge. It is.
You missed out on one trade there. It was the last trade that came in last night.
They got Minnesota feller. Yeah. Sin. Forgets about his name.
Reese Johnson. Wait, they got him, did they? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Is he any good? I have no idea who that even is.
No idea. I didn't even put his name in Google.
I'll look it up, We got to talk about it, to get a full grade here. This could be the worst trade of the day.
I think Reese Johnson considerations.
Yeah, future considerations. buddy is 26 years old from Regina, Saskatchewan.
Have a stroke, buddy.
144 games played in NHL somehow. Never even really heard of him. Shocking. Minus 50, 17 points career. Right on.
Well, yeah, that guy for sure. They just got him to play in the Marlies, I suppose, because the Marlies are probably going to try to make a run at it.
Yeah, I'm going to look at his stats in it. I assume he's been in the well, dude, 49 points in the AHL this year, 13 points. I don't. Is he a defenseman? He's a forward. Is he? I don't see it.
He is. He's a center right wing.
Yes, spy. So he's just dirtbag, is he, or what?
apparently, his player type according to Elite Prospects is physical forward.
Okay.
So I don't know. Maybe just a Portland dirtbag. Who knows?
All right, well, whatever. I don't know. So just a pickup, extra bit of depth. I don't know, something. He's played in NHL. He has a bit of experience, so something else, just a bit of depth to bring in.
Should it reach Johnson? By God, love you.
Yeah,
or something.
Biggest trade of the day.
So yesterday, before the Leafs got Carlo, I was like, "Oh no, you're gonna go into the playoffs with Connor Timmins under third pair, and this is serious. This is serious stuff." And then they got Carlo, and now I feel. And again, because of the simple fact, like it's not flashy, it's not this, but for the fact of getting exactly what you needed. You know what I mean? Like Toronto's had some of the best goaltending in the NHL this year. Their defense has been all right. Their forwards have been all right, but they needed a third line center and they needed a right-handed top 4 D man.
They did what they needed to do.
So I'm going to give them an A-.
I'll agree with that.
I'll give them an A. I'll like kind of close to what I said for Ottawa because they did what they needed to do and they brought in some extra depth too. And I like to see it. Like just good laugh. Like they filled some holes, like you said.
Yeah, and like I think you look at that team the other night when they play Vegas and the other night when they're playing fucking Colorado, and I'm like, just seeing Scott and the third line of Scott Laughton, Max Domi, and Bobby McMahon, I think is going to be all right. I'm excited to see it. So yeah, I thought it was a good trade deadline for the buys, and they're like. We're going to get into it now, but I'm going to call this next segment the Rantanen saga before we get into the rest of it. And just really like, it's not even like, we'll talk about the first trade. Like he was traded from Colorado to Carolina. I think it was in January, end of January.
He played 13 games he played with him and he got 6 points.
So I would say end of January because of the Four Nations Cup. He played with him before the Four Nations Cup.
Yeah.
So he goes there. And then so Colorado trades Mikko Rantanen without him having any clue he's going to get traded. He gets traded for Marty Necas and Jack Jury. And maybe there's another player. Taylor Hall also went to Carolina in that trade. It was like because Chicago retained salary. It was a bit of a complicating trade. But then Mikko Rantanen goes there. They try to sign him, apparently, instantly declines it. Like, I don't want to play in Carolina. So then it's like, instantly Eric Tulsky's like, I got to trade this guy. Like, and because he's not going to resign.
It just wasn't a good fit, man.
No, Brenda Moore wants to play defensive hockey. Like, Sebastian Aho is their highest paid player. Like, that's another team that doesn't really have groundbreaking star.
I was going to say we wouldn't know if they did because they're not allowed to play offense.
Yeah, exactly. So I think he had 13 points, 6 points in 13 games or something, was it?
Yeah, that's his lowest of his career, man.
And like I said, he's top 4 in the last 10 years or whatever in points. Also playing with McKinnon, which helps. But there's no doubt he's a fucking deadly hockey player.
Oh, God, yes.
So the whole time, it's like, where's he? I thought he was going to be traded before the trade deadline, but it really started heating up the other night because before I went to bed the other night before the trade deadline, it's like, oh, multiple teams are in on him. One of them was the Leafs. So I listened to Real Kipper and Born, which is a podcast. Well, it's more of a show now, and Nick Kyprios is on it, and he was Toronto insider and played for the team, and I think he got a good in on the team, and he was saying that Leafs offered Carolina a better package. Okay, so we should probably talk about so Carolina ends up trading Mikko Rantanen to Dallas Stars for Logan Stankoven, 2 firsts and 2 thirds.
2 conditional first and 2 third round picks, and both of them are top 10 protected.
Yes.
I honestly think that's a really good haul, to be honest with you. Stankoven has not reached his potential yet at all, obviously.
Carolina's not in draft top 20 mode. Carolina's in we got to win right now mode.
100%.
But
they do have. They got no one right. Like Stankoven, he showed up in the playoffs last year, though, did he not? Like playoff performer? Am I not? Am I wrong in saying that? They never got Mikko Rantanen back.
No, it was not. They didn't even get Marty Necas back.
No, exactly. They didn't really get a player that replaces them right now. They traded like they were trading to rebuild in a sense, like you're saying.
Yeah, and they offered Mikko Rantanen $13.5 million, and he told them to kick rocks.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
It is.
That goes to show, though, that it's not about money for some of these players in that sense.
He's arguably making about the same when in Dallas because of state taxes, but also like he goes to Dallas and he plays on a line with Hintz, probably one of his good buddies. They're both Finnish.
Yeah.
And Jason Robinson, who can shoot the puck in the fucking net. And like that team. So yeah, Leafs offered Cowan, Minton. I don't actually know if it was Danford. I think it might have been and 2 firsts and 2 thirds. And like maybe those players don't make you better now either, but like I don't think Stankoven gets you over the hump next year.
Stankoven's ahead of Minton and Cowan, though, what you just said at this stage. I don't know if Cowan would come in and be like, you know what I mean, like do as well as Stankoven has done in his current.
Yeah, but does Stankoven like 9 goals in like 60 games?
He's probably playing on the 3rd or 4th line, though. On a very
but now he's going to go to a defensive team.
Oh yeah, no, I won't doubt that either. Hold on.
I think they should have kept Rantanen and not trade them and like just lost them in free agency, because then you can actually make a run at it with them.
Put it on that. But
if I was Carolina,
to be fair, they did get a good haul, like considering that they were pushed to the brink of they had to do something.
If I'm a Carolina Hurricanes fan today, though, I'm pissed.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I'm like, why did you trade Marty Necas and Jack Drury if you didn't know if Rantanen was going to sign?
Yeah.
That's the only way I'm making that
It's a fair point. Yeah.
Because now Marty Necas has like point per game playing for, and he's going to cost Colorado like $6 million less. And they got Jack Drury, who's like $1.1 million center, and who's good.
Yeah. No, I agree. I gotta say, I do have a soft spot for Stankoven. I don't know why. I think he's a great hockey player, but I know he's 22 years old. But one knack is he's really small, and I don't know how that fits into Carolina's style of play.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
He's 5'8", 165 pounds.
But he's literally Marty St. Louis.
Yeah, he's really tiny.
What's crazy is Colorado and Dallas might be playing in the first round.
That'd be wild.
Oh. Yeah, and you know, like, guys, Dallas's top 9. Let me get this up really quickly because it's ridiculous. It's best top 9, and their defense isn't as good, but it's best top 9 in hockey. Dallas Stars daily face.
Is it this? Jason Robertson, Rope Hintz, Mikko Rantanen, Mason Marchment, Matt Duchene, Mikael Granlund, Jamie Benn, Wyatt Johnson, Evgeny Dadonov.
That's fucking crazy.
And then the fourth line
is
Maverick
crazy.
Bork, Sam Steele, and I don't know Oscar back, to be honest with you.
Maverick Bork is great.
Oh, yeah, I know. Sam Steele is never painted to be the player we might have thought he was, but he's still a solid depth player. Like, fourth line, like, when you got a top 6 like that, don't matter. Or top 9, I mean, sorry.
Wyatt Johnson's point per game player, third line center.
Where was Stankoven in that lineup? Was he on the fourth line before?
Maybe, or on the...
I would love to know.
And now they're going to get Tyler Seguin. Probably put him on the second line.
Forgot, dude.
They Shane, and then they'll drop Granlund down to the third and probably Dadonov down to the fourth over Oscar back.
God.
Are the Stars just going to win the cup or what? Like,
they might, depending what Jake Ottinger they get in the playoffs.
That's a good point.
Same with like Winnipeg. What Connor Hellebuck are they going to get?
Yeah. So I really just think at the end of the day that this has been, it's the best player ever traded on. They're saying like he's the best, the most highly like most points, most whatever traded player ever on trade deadline.
That's crazy.
Oh, wow.
You know what? There's another stat that I never talked about. I meant to mention about the Ottawa and the trade to bring in Cousins. That was the first time ever on trade deadline that there was a player of that. Two players traded for one another that were over the salary of like $7 million each, or something too. So that was another like huge part of the day, the trades. But yeah.
So basically, end up the Rantanen thing. Colorado comes in on top.
They do.
Really at the end of the day. Like, Dallas too, though. Dallas got Mikko Rantanen for 8 years for $12 million a year when salary cap's going up.
And when it comes to Carolina, you're fucking boring anyway. Fuck off. I don't care.
I agree with you.
Rantanen was probably he was bored to death on Carolina, I'd say. He was ready to fuck. Like, oh my God, I hate Carolina boys. I can't get over how much I hate them. They're so boring.
Dude. Me too, dude. Like, at least make something like, and not even so he's going to go out and fight. Yeah. Like, even their best defenseman, Jacob Slavin, who might be the best defenseman in the league, he himself is the epitome of boring.
Yeah.
You don't score on him, he doesn't score on you.
No. Dude, yeah, he's unreal defenseman, though. I would hate to play against him. Fuck.
Yeah, so the next little segment we got is just and we won't really go into much depth on this. It's the other Canadian teams and what they done. Montreal didn't do anything. They re-signed Jake Evans.
That's it?
Yeah.
They didn't do a trade at all.
Nope.
That is dust when you're in the middle of the playoff race. Why? What?
And I know people around here watches that team now, like watches this documentary, this podcast. I can honestly tell you that the fucking scabs are a bunch of fucking idiots. So that whole team, Cole Caulfield scores 30 goals for the first time in his career, and people say he's better than Matthews. You guys all have an actual disorder.
I do like Cole Caulfield, though, as a hockey player.
Dude, he's a good hockey player.
I would much rather see, like, guys, his brother played for fucking Growlers.
Oh, my God. That was his brother? I wasn't sure if it was or not.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're better than your brother.
Can we just talk about all the teams in the playoff race there, though, too? Yep. Not just the Canadian teams.
Who do you want to talk about?
Like, I just want to say that nobody did anything that was in a playoff race that should have. Montreal didn't do shit. I just mean within our division. Montreal didn't do shit. Detroit didn't do shit.
Montreal is fake. Montreal would make the playoffs and be out definitely in the first round. It's a waste of time for them.
Boston was a bit not delusional, but they just did confusing what they did, kind of.
Like,
so all these teams that were in the race just didn't make any sense. Like what? All their decisions.
Boston's in the same boat. Boston's not they're not like a team like Detroit that's like, oh, we're craving, and Ottawa, who's like, even one playoff game would be incredible for us. Boston's like, we don't need one round. We want to win the cup. And like the fact that Montreal didn't do anything makes sense because I don't think a team that needs assets is going to give up assets. They would rather draft those assets or trade them over the summer. David Savard was a guy that people were talking about, or Jake Evans, but they re-signed Jake Evans and David Savard got 1 year left, and I think they'll either trade him next year or just he'll retire with them.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. I find it interesting that they're in the playoff race and just didn't really want to buff up or help out their team. That's what I just find interesting. Ottawa, I'm just happy what they did too.
I hope that Montreal is in a playoff race until the very last day, and then they lose in like horribly dramatic fashion and don't make the playoffs, and then don't make the playoffs again ever again.
You know what's crazy about that playoff race? Columbus is another team that didn't do anything. I don't think they even had a trade, which they should have, but considering the position they're in too.
But Ottawa, I think they're also
Columbus,
in the same position of like, I don't think they want to trade their first round pick.
I get what you're saying,
from their team.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it really comes to, and I think they're like, man, we might make it anyway. So the rest of these teams don't care. The rest of these teams are trading everybody.
Yeah. You know what?
The New York Islanders gave up yesterday, trading Bark Nelson.
Yeah. I think Ottawa and Columbus play each other 3 times coming down the stretch in the last 20 games, which is nuts. That's huge games, man.
They are. Fuck.
Toronto plays Florida next week. This week coming up, so that's big too. There's a lot of big games going on. It's Detroit didn't do anything. They gotta fire Steve Yzerman. Guys, they traded Jake Wallman last year and a second round pick to San Jose, and then San Jose traded Jake Wallman yesterday for a first round pick. Like,
hilarious.
Should be fired.
They traded away Joe Veleno yesterday too for Mrazek and Craig Smith. Like, excuse me. I'm not saying that Veleno
10 points in 60 games.
No, I'm not like looking at it like that. I just mean it's just like do you need that trade? You guys have like 6 goalies right now. Seriously.
Oh yeah, they don't. That's just a random. I think Yzerman thinks Mrazek's better than Talbot and Lyon though.
Yeah. But is Mrazek just dust?
He's .890 save percentage this year. Dust.
Playing with Chicago though.
Fair.
Yeah, Yzerman, I don't. Detroit not making a playoffs game this year is probably going to happen, and they went from the team that made it the most ever in a row, and now they're on like their 10th year not making it.
Brutal.
And let's little fact: if Boston doesn't make it this year, Toronto will now take over as the team who's made it the most in a row.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought Boston missed a few years ago.
No.
I don't think they're making the playoffs.
I don't think so either. But unless something happens, you know what I mean?
Unless Ottawa just crumbles again.
Yeah. So
do you want to go over to meet all the trades, like kind of like the important ones?
Yeah, I was going to say, I was going to talk about Edmonton really quickly and getting Jake Wallman and Trent Frederick. And
that's solid pickups.
I think it makes that team better, but I think that team...
Their goaltending is still questionable, man.
And so is their forwards.
Yeah, outside of like Draisaitl, McDavid, and there we go. Never mind, there's the list. I don't know.
And McDavid's not very good this year.
I think I was saying this to Jordan earlier. I actually think that he's saving his game for the playoffs. I really do. Like, they're in a playoff position. I think he's going to come out absolutely flying in the playoffs this year.
You should hope one of those goalies can make a fucking save.
Yeah. I'll just score 7 goals a game, guys. No trouble.
So let's go over other major
Winnipeg
moves.
had a solid team as well. If we didn't cover every Canadian,
we should talk about Winnipeg. They added some shit to their team by
Tanev, Luke Shin, solid pickups. Didn't give up much. Like
no second line center though.
That's true. I mean, who is that?
Their center is Adam Lowry.
He's solid, but not second line solid.
It can't be your second. You
third, but not second.
In the first round, people are coming out to shut down Scheifele, and they're like, "I dare you, Adam Lowry, to beat us. You might beat us in the regular season, but you're not beating us in the fucking playoffs." I think, that like I talked to one of my friends here, Winnipeg fan. He told me he's like, it's a huge disappointment. He's like, that they're the best team in the league, but Boston had 136 points a couple years ago, and Florida put them out in 7.
Yeah,
don't matter fucking what you do in the regular season.
That was
if you got
wild.
Adam Lowry going in, Brand Tanev is not scoring you a goal, and neither is Luke Shin.
No,
they're not putting the puck in the net.
So,
and if they do,
but in some sense, yeah, they improved defensively. But what are we doing? I don't know. Offensively, there's a lot of question marks, I guess. Still, like you're saying,
I don't know why they're not right in on I guess not a lot of big. Why aren't they right in on Dylan Cousins yesterday?
Yeah,
he would have been fucking deadly on Winnipeg. Can you imagine?
Why aren't they trying to get rid of Ehlers? That's the thing. You got to give something to get something, but their wing depth, they have great depth on the wing. Like, why aren't you like Ehlers first round pick, Brossoit or something else, or like whoever their backup, like, you know what I mean? Like trying to get creative here. But I'm like, Ottawa obviously had the better deal, but it's like, why isn't Winnipeg trying to get, like you just said, Dylan? I mean, Dylan Cousins. I was about to call you Jordan Reed, Dylan Cousins. But like you just said, Jordan Reed, Dylan Cousins would have been unreal on their second line.
Oh my God. Can you imagine?
He's like the perfect Winnipeg boy.
Yeah, now he's going to be unreal on Ottawa. So
for years to come, man. They got him for like 6 years. Let's go, dude.
So, let's go over other major moves.
Wait, one more thought. In Canadian teams, Calgary and Vancouver did nothing. 0.
I'm a big fan of Calgary not doing anything because people wanted their first round picks, but they're also Calgary's like we were
like you said,
they're this year. If we make it, it's huge for us. If we don't, we're not bent out of shape over it. The team is like, that's the kind of, and I think that's a great way to look at it. And if we make it, we make it. And that's the same thing with Montreal, really. If Montreal made the playoffs this year, they're like, that team would have, the NHL makes an extra, like, probably $80 million by having like 2 Habs home games. Like, just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And Vancouver, well, they traded JT Miller earlier. They should have traded Brock Besser yesterday. But they can't trade Elias Pettersson. Nobody's taking him. $11.6 million.
That contract's ridiculous right now. Yeah.
Ilya Mikheyev has more goals.
Yeah, he's Pettersson. Pettersson is dusting it up by.
And he also had a horrible 4 Nations. 1 point.
Yeah.
1 point. Like, and then he was blaming JT Miller this year, and they trade him, and they're like, "Dude, you're the fucking issue. You're
take some accountability and blame others because you're playing badly. Fuck off."
Yeah.
JT Miller probably just called him out and he got sooky. Like, I don't know. It's dust.
Well, JT Miller is intense, but like,
he is.
It's hockey and we're all trying to fucking win here.
Yeah, he's just trying to be honest.
You're being paid $11.6 million. You need to be good.
Yes.
Like, yeah, JT Miller has bad shit every now and then, but it's like, Elias Pettersson is like, just not going. It's actually quite funny.
It's weird.
Because
it's crazy to see his digression or whatever. Like he's taking a huge step back, man, by the looks of it.
Well, Vancouver is such a fraud city too that they're like every time the Leafs plays there, they got a chant where they're like, they chant something to fuck the Leafs or something. It's like, can you guys just get over yourselves and burn down your city again over the Stanley Cup?
Yeah, dust.
Why?
Go Bruins, go Bruins, go.
Oh my God.
People were talking yesterday. Can you imagine if Elias Pettersson got traded to Boston for Brad Marchand?
Oh my Christ! Wait, we didn't even talk about it. Are we going to talk about that? Brad Marchand got traded to fucking Florida.
Well, we're going to talk about it in the big trades. Yeah. So first one I got here is Ryan Lindgren and Jimmy Vesey going to New York Rangers for basically the big part in that is Calvin DeHaan.
Yeah.
Rangers just getting rid of because they might make it and they might not make it.
They only lost today to Ottawa, and I was happy to see it, but they're. I'll tell you what's going to determine if they makes it is their goaltending, man. Holy crap. He's so good, dude. The only goals he let in today were pretty much, except with the exception of the game winner, was just deflections and greasy goals. Hard to score on that guy.
Everything he could see, he'll stop. 100% of the time. It's nuts.
Yeah, but Ottawa outplayed the shit out of them, and the shots were like 37-23. Like,
they were relentless on the shots, but it was nuts.
Yeah.
The other one here is Gustav Nyquist. Minnesota Wild. I feel like that guy gets traded 5 times a year.
He's been around, buddy.
Yeah, and he's old, and like I don't know. Minnesota's been hurt. Kaprizov's hurt. There's a bunch of players hurt. I don't really think he's making a difference on that team, and they're probably going to fall into a wild card spot. Maybe not.
Minnesota?
Yeah.
I like the pickup of Brazo coming in too from Boston. I like him. Solid 3rd or 4th liner. He can fucking score, man.
Yeah, but I think they're craving scoring.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Do they have Kaprizov? Is he injured?
He's hurt.
Well, they're yeah.
I don't think he's re-signing there either.
He's literally everything on that. He drives that team when he's playing, man.
But he's always insane. Hurt too, man. Always hurt.
But I guess that's his relentlessness. He plays like a dog out there, man. He's always after the puck, and it's hurt him, I guess, in that sense too.
This one happened a couple days before, but Seth Jones and a 4th overall pick to Florida for Spencer Knight and 20.
I like that trade for both teams. Both teams, that's a good trade, I think.
Yeah, and then Chicago retains Jones' salary. But it's for Florida. It's like, why are you giving these people these players for them to win the cup with again? I don't get it. Like, what is up with this? And yeah, Spencer Knight played amazing the other night in his first game. Only went 1 goal. So, definitely.
I like that for Chicago, man. I'm happy they got a goalie, finally.
And they got a first-round pick out of it, which I think they should trade. Then we got here, Edmonton gets Trent Frederick, Max Jones. Yeah. Boston just gets a 2nd-round pick, a 4th-round pick, and some Max Wan or some defenseman who's – I don't know who that is.
Who?
Yeah, exactly. Florida got Vitek Vanacek, but it's saying that's a notable trade, but like that guy is like an 860 this year. Florida really probably is hoping they don't have to put him in the net.
And San Jose, though, be nice. Vanacek's a decent goalie, isn't he?
He was good on New Jersey a few years ago when they had a solid team going. I think.
That must be where I remember him from, yeah.
Pittsburgh went and got Tommy Novak and Luke Schenn, traded Michael Bunting, but Luke Schenn, and then they traded Luke Schenn again.
I just want to say, what the fuck was Nashville doing there? Nashville confuses me, man. Everybody going into the season, everybody was like, man, Nashville's winning the cup, man. Like, come on. They're the worst team in the league.
Good team on paper.
Yes.
But on paper doesn't really mean anything until you see the product on the ice, right? In a sense.
They suck. And Barry Trotz is maybe one of the best coaches ever, but also the worst GM ever. Just because you're a good coach does not mean you're a good GM. It's totally different.
100%.
Can you imagine back in the 2000s, Pat Quinn was head coach and GM of the Leafs, and they were one of the best teams in the league. And he's one of the best coaches ever, and a great GM too. That's so hard to do. But also, you have the ultimate fucking power. No one is fucking with you when you are coach and GM. Anyone fucks with you, I'll trade you. Like, if there's no GM likes you and I don't, I'll trade you. But New Jersey got Brian Dumoulin.
Love that pickup, honestly.
Jack Hughes is hurt for the rest of the year, though.
New Jersey made, in my opinion, they had one of the sneakiest, like, not the best deadline out of all the teams, but sneaky good deadline. Really good what they did.
They're done in the first round, though.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Jack Hughes is a big enough. He's not coming back.
Oh, that's right, too. That does hurt for them. But they did try to, I think, hold on. There's something to talk about. Brian Dumoulin. Who else did they bring in that I was just looking at there? It's all sneaky little depth pickups, but there was something. Cody Glass, Jonathan Gruden. They didn't give up much, like a 3rd-round pick there and a couple other players that aren't in the league. They brought in another defenseman, Dennis Cholowski, another good depth pickup for D. And Daniel Sprong. I really like that pickup for what they gave up. Dude, it doesn't make sense to me that he's not in the league, and I can't make sense of it. He's literally still over a point per game in the AHL, and they literally, a couple of years ago, he had back-to-back 20-goal seasons or something, and just wasn't in the league since.
Dude, the reason he isn't is because when the puck is in his zone, when he's in it, it's not coming out because he is an invisible. He's maybe the worst defensive forward in the NHL.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, and they can't put him on a first or second line because they can't trust him to skate back, and you can't play in the 3rd and 4th lines if you're not defensive.
I don't understand why that can't be coached sometimes properly, man. You know what I mean?
Because the dudes don't care.
It's interesting.
They don't have the drive some dudes got. They're just like, I can score a goal. And also at the end of the day, it's like apparently he's an arsehole.
Well, I get that's what it is then, because he's barely played the last few years. There's something about it, either his personality or, like you said, his back checking or whatever it is.
Maybe if he's a nice dude and plays like the way he does, he might play. And that's the thing. Even though it's like you would hate to think that the NHL isn't always going with the best players, but sometimes you're like, I'd rather have this guy in my forward line who's not going to cause me any shit than this guy who might actually win us a game, but he might lose you more games than win you if he's on ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just think it's an interesting pickup for New Jersey. It could help them. It could.
Well, they need it because they got fucking Jack Hughes out. You know
and there's a bit more offensive punch, so that's nice. As for a 7th round pick, like, come on, nothing.
Oh, another big one that was kind of sneaky is Carson Soucy going to New York Rangers.
He scored against the Rangers or against Sens today, first goal of the game.
He did, yeah. he almost scored 2 actually. He came sometime.
Yep.
Oh. This is a big one we haven't talked about. Brock Nelson and William Defoe, some guy, to Colorado for New York gets Callum Ritchie, who is going to be good. Very good. Oliver Shillington, I think is how you pronounce his name. And a 2026 first round pick that's protected and a conditional 2028 third round pick. And they also retained 50% of Nelson's contract.
That's a good trade for
both teams.
Both teams, really. But I will say that Shillington got flipped instantly to the Ducks.
Yeah, which is good for him. He'll get to play there.
Hell yeah, I
liked him a couple years ago.
I like the Ducks, man.
Brock Nelson, who might fuck around, score 40 goals for a year, going to Colorado, playing under second line is fucking stupid. He's used to playing as Matt Barzal as his number one center. Now Nathan McKinnon is his number one center. Matt Barzal is a great hockey player, but the number difference between him and McKinnon, it's
not even comparable.
Matt Barzal didn't make Team Canada.
No.
You know what I mean? So it's like...
To be fair, he plays on a team that's similar to Carolina in the way that they play, though. They're just probably, if they're not the most boring hockey team, they're the second most boring hockey team.
Yeah, but they might have not much of a choice because they also... I feel like Carolina got a few guys that might be able to put the puck in the net if they were allowed. I feel like New York Islanders got nobody to put the puck in the net.
But in that sense too, though, they do play like they're not allowed to go up past blue line by like it's dust. I can't watch it. It's literally watching that when Ottawa plays them. I don't even want to turn it on, man. It rots.
2 years in a row they made the conference finals. I would have rather see fucking like Bay Roberts in it. Fuck, it was bad. It was bad.
Southern Shore Breakers by.
So, let's talk about another really, 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 really big trade. Which, when it was made, I wanted to throw something. When Boston traded Brad Marchand to Florida Panthers, I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it, dude. It was not on my fucking bingo card.
Did you see what Matthew Tkachuk tweeted at him or whatever? Or at the tweet when that happened? He just replied, he just said, holy shit.
That's so funny, man.
I'm
pretty sure. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I heard.
I'm pissed about it. I'm like actually fucking rotted about that.
What?
I think it's funny, man.
I think it's a goddamn fucking bullshit. That you get. Oh yeah, let's trade our captain to. It'd be really funny if we traded him to a team that the Leafs.
Yeah, literally funny.
It might be funny if the Leafs. We'll also give the Leafs Carlo, but we'll also trade Marchand to the Florida Panthers. It actually feels intentional. And the fact that Sam Bennett. Buddy, I would fly to Florida to throw rocks out on that goddamn ice at that line of Sam Bennett, Brian Marchand, and Matthew Tkachuk. Hey, you know what?
My God.
Brian Marchand and Matthew Tkachuk are both hurt right now.
It's going to be ridiculous. That's going to be ridiculous in the playoffs.
It's going to be nuts. At Paul Maurice, whatever. Do what you got to do. I hope that Tampa plays in the first round and they go to... Like, it's like, oh my God, is this actually a Hell in a Cell? There's more blood than there's fucking hockey being played. I need that. And then Toronto plays one of them in the second round, and either team is mostly all dead. That's kind of what I need in my life. Because I can honestly handle Tampa win the cup again if I see that Florida team make it to the Stanley Cup Finals again.
That'd be 3 straight years.
Yeah, and hockey's bullshit because tax cuts. I can go play there for fucking $8 million, and the same amount of money I can play. Like the same thing happens in Ottawa. They won't get a player. Like a player will go play in Dallas for $8 million, but that contract equivalent in Canada is like $12.5 million. He's like, what the fuck are we doing here?
That's not hockey's fault though. That's just the state taxes and stuff. Like that's just.
Yeah, but that's where hockey should step in and set up something that can because a hockey can counteract that.
Yeah, they should do something different to make it work out better.
Well, it's also Gary Bettman is Montgomery Burns and only ever wants a fucking American team to win the cup. Like the fact that Florida won the cup, a team that he brought into the league, do you know what that done to him? How, like, he was like that, rock hard from that.
Yeah.
I booed this year when I seen him. It was the first time I ever seen him on the ice for anything when he was at the fucking Four Nations. And I actually booed to the point where I was like squeaking and everything because I hate him. I think he ruined hockey. I think all the teams in the NHL, like, it's going to get to a point where it's like people who were playing rec hockey the year before Newfoundland are now in the NHL. It's going to get over. It's oversaturated now.
Yeah.
True.
32 teams. It's 32 now?
Yeah, and there's not enough hockey players to facilitate that. You got guys who are actually and then like bringing teams where it's like, oh, let's try to bring one back to Atlanta. The last two really worked. Shut the fuck up, Gary Bettman. Also, this whole like I can be hurt and be on LTIR and then come back for game one of the playoffs is also bullshit.
I don't like that either. Even Tampa did it with fucking Kucherov a couple times or whatever. I don't like that. I think that's and isn't fucking Vegas, with Mark Stone right now or something?
No, well, Florida's doing it with Matthew Tkachuk.
Dust.
It's like how convenient for him to get hurt at the Four Nations Cup.
Yeah.
Probably, I won't get no more conspiracy theories.
No. Well, is there anything else or what?
We should talk about winners. We should talk about winners and losers.
Winners and losers and off the pod. Give her.
Jordan.
Well,
Reed.
I guess we can start with our team first. Our teams. I think all our teams are winners. Honestly.
I agree.
We're all winners. Who's the loser, Spy?
I would say, yeah.
Carolina.
I will give the losers to someone, even though Julian said like the teams that were in the playoff race that could have done something to really bolster their roster to actually make a run at it. They didn't do anything. I'll consider them losers because
100%.
They just didn't do anything. Like I get it though, like staying at a standpoint, but like I don't know, bring in like a depth defenseman, do something. Like I don't know, do anything.
Yeah, but I would consider Detroit to be the only loser there, where like Montreal is like we're not trying to make playoffs. Calgary's like we weren't expecting to be here, but then you get like Detroit where it's like but
would you consider them But would you consider them a winner though? If you had to pick like winner or loser,
no, they're net neutral.
You know what I mean?
Net neutral. I would just not even.
Okay, so we got a neutral category.
No, well, I guess you can call them losers. I'm just defending my proposition.
Yeah, no, I know what you said. Yeah, I get what you're saying for sure. But yeah.
I guess we can go with who's the biggest winner. Honestly, man, I think Ottawa is the biggest winner. And I'm not just saying that because FellerPine's here. I just think they did a lot. Like,
I think they did a lot of smart stuff. Yeah, I mean, who is a bigger winner than what Ottawa did?
Dallas, honestly. Best player.
Dallas, best player?
Yeah.
But best player, I think, equals you made your team like the best team.
Yeah. Dallas is definitely up there too, for sure. I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
Like
Dallas, Ottawa, but is there anybody else between
Florida?
I guess Florida,
Tampa.
But Tampa. But Tampa never did anything yesterday.
Colorado brought in Charlie Coyle.
Or just
I would talk like the whole week. Like Colorado brought in Charlie Coyle, Charlie Coyle and Brock Nelson. And Ryan Lindgren.
Yep. Yeah, Colorado had a great trade deadline.
I don't know. Like, I just give it to Dallas because of just having the best. Like, just getting the best player is easy because then it gets into minutia things.
Yeah, I would say
not fucking giving up anything. They didn't give up anything. They don't care about Logan Stankoven. They're like, whatever. We got Mikko Rantanen for 8 years.
Literally.
I mean, yeah, they gave up Logan Stankoven for a consistent 100-point player.
And those 2 first-rounders, Carolina's going to draft, like, who has the least points? Let's draft them. Like, what defenseman hasn't scored this year? Let's draft him.
Oh, my.
Can you imagine?
Oh, I lied about Columbus not doing anything. They brought in Luke Cunnin. Dust.
Oh, depth defenseman for the buys.
Forward. Step forward. Luke Cunnin.
Really?
Yeah. He's a center, I believe.
Oh, yes. I was thinking about Mario Ferraro.
He's a forward too, isn't he?
No, he's the man.
Is he? Now I'm confused.
That gets me. Also, I like the fact that Mikko Rantanen's a right winger and shoots left. That fucking deadly. Coming down to wingmen.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Puck.
Oh, yeah.
Him and Rupe Hintz going to the net like a bunch of bull moose. 2 of the guys are like 6'3".
Yeah.
Winner. I'll just give it Dallas, but I think winners overall. I think all of our teams are winners. I think Colorado.
Florida's a winner. Fuck.
I give a little bit of a win to New Jersey, considering they didn't give up anything, but they got a lot of depth.
I give a win to Boston, who realize what their position is, who are like, we're picking a lane here. We're not making it, and we're okay with that. And we're going to just get a bunch of assets. I think that's a win. I think Winnipeg not getting a second line center or someone to play center is a loss.
I agree with that. But the biggest winner player-wise, I think, is Dylan Cousins going from fucking Buffalo to Ottawa.
Oh, in terms of player winning, yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you mean player winning?
Like
who got the most? Like, Rantanen went from one good team to another good team to another good team.
Yeah.
Dylan Cousins is going from like, I don't want to play hockey anymore to fun team. Buys having a bit of fun here. Trying to make playoffs. Might not make it, but at least making a push. I've never even tried to make a push for it before.
Yeah. And you know what? You can put Fabian Zetterlund in that too. He's probably having more fun than Dylan Cousins still playing with Macklin Celebrini.
I actually have a feeling that, because apparently the boys are good friends, Fabian and Macklin. I have a good feeling that when he was called yesterday, he was a bit disappointed. Even though he's going somewhere that he can win, I bet you there's a part of him that's like, I would have liked to been able to win here when we could.
That's what I said. Everybody thought he was part of the core, man, in San Jose.
San Jose is just like, I think Mike Greer is, I think they're going to win a cup in like probably a couple of years.
Yeah, give them 5 years, probably. They'll at least be in the mix. And William Eklund is ridiculous, too.
And so is Will Smith.
But defense is where it gets a little questionable. I'll say that for them right now.
What's his name?
They do have some prospects, but nobody that's just like bam, bam right now.
Celebrini is better than Bedard.
Yes, because there's a skating as well. I think, yeah, he's an elite talent right now, and Bedard is good, but Bedard gets the way he plays. He's probably going to need some speed around him, and Celebrini is speed and elite all in one. So
they also don't put Bedard. They'll be like, here, Bedard, here's 2 buys on your line. They're like, put Bedard on the line with Tyler Bertuzzi and so on. Like, he never plays with the better players on the team. That team is another team that I'm like, they might be hopeless. I'm not sure. We'll see in a couple of years, but
maybe Spencer Knight saves today, man.
He's a good goalie, man.
They got defensemen. They got they knew they were going to be bad again this year, so they kept a lot of dudes in the AHL.
Yeah,
who are going to be like great NHL players, but they're like, we don't need you. Like James Korzinski, they sent him down. He played most of the year last year, but they sent him back down because they're like, go develop down there, play the whole year. You won't have to deal with being a minus 75. That will weigh, like, no matter what, that weighs on your mental.
Oh,
like,
you know.
Even the team is bad, but you're like, I'm also not helping. So that's trade deadline madness. Yeah.
It was something else, what a trade deadline it was.
Can I let you know that Boston won 4-0 today, and the odds for that game were absolutely atrocious against Boston. You would have made a loot.
I've known that. I've known that for the last pretty much hour.
Casey Middlestat picking up his first career Boston Bruin point.
I can tell you one thing. That's good for the Leafers. They got to go win tonight now. They got to go win.
Honestly, Boston.
Mackenzie Blackwood, if you're listening, I really want you to start for Canada this year. And I hope if you ever listen to this podcast, you took that as a major compliment. If you could let in at least 7 goals tonight against the Leafs, let Scott get one. Let him feel good about himself. I'll appreciate it. Also, before we end the podcast, I want to send mad shout out to the Steve Dangle podcast, who shared our podcast.
I seen that.
Good laugh.
Good laugh. Shared it to the boys.
And this week, so there's definitely somebody, because they have a whole network now, the bunch of guys working. I'm assuming there's somebody over there that listens, has even listened once. I tag Steve Dangle in the tags all the time because I do mention him every episode. And Good Laff, people Google him, will come out on the bottom. But yeah, and like the last 2 weeks since we recorded that last episode has been the best 2 weeks for the podcast, between like 200 listens.
Yes, man.
Audio and
support's been pretty fucking good lately, and we're very, very excited. And this is the ground floor, motherfuckers, and there's nowhere but up from here. So let's fucking go.
He's right. We were in the basement a few months ago. We're on G general.
Yep.
And like you said, it's only up from here. And if you want to give us money or do sponsors or whatever,
give us money.
We're more okay.
This podcast is for sale. We will sell our souls. Whatever we need to do to make it by it, we'll fucking do it.
Oh my God. Guys, you know what though? In saying that, the Locked On guys do like support, like you know what I mean? If you actually get into like the Locked On network, they can literally support your whatever. All you do is you give up sponsors or whatever while you're talking about your favorite teams.
You know what?
It's pretty cool.
You know what we're locked on? Fucking Good Laughs here.
Locked On Good Laff.
Amen. All right, bye. So next episode is going to be what? Fucking who knows? What are we going to be talking about next episode?
I don't know. Trout and water or what? Broke trout.
I guess you'll have to fucking stay tuned, guys. Keep your eyes peeled to the Good Laff Podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me on once again, guys. FellerPine across all platforms loves you. Appreciates you having me on all the time. And it's Good Laff. Good Laff on the Good Laff Podcast. Only laughs.
Listen to the pod, watch the pod, like, subscribe, give 5 stars. Honestly, give us a thumbs down. We haven't got one yet. Like, just
tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, interact. Interact.
Literally.
And we also know there's a few buys that he's listening consistently. And I just want to send mad shout out, like, 2 of those young fellers you're talking about, Jordan. Jeff Reed's young feller. Like, shout out to you, buddy.
Josh, Landon, Elliot Bishop, to fucking, who else, by Dylan
Oates.
Yes, man. The OG buys. You're here for fucking history when this fucking takes off, buys. Yeah. Don't worry about that.
Shout out to the full FellerPine community that comes over and listens to me on here too. Loves Jazz. Thanks for everything.
Yes,
appreciate Jazz.
Go follow me on Twitch. We're going mental over there too. Good Laff. Go follow FellerPine on Twitch. Just try and get affiliated. So yeah, I guess we'll catch you next time in Good Laff.
Good fucking laugh. Good Laff.